Inhale. Om Namo Om Namo
Jugadguru Name, Sadguru Name, Siri Name, Adguru Name, Jugadguru Name, Sadguru
Long deep breath. And continue hard breath. Oh, Sahej. Hi, Sahej. Okay. So, Sahej, please tune in and then stay up for heart breath. Oh, and there's Salt City. Okay. Okay, keep up. Okay. So now Baba Siri Chand is here. And so this is what he said for our, what do you call, for our concept, which is called subconscious. You understand that? Subconscious. So this is for the source and also the what else for source. And then he says on one side would be from trance. Do you know what a trance is? Okay.
Like a subconscious pattern that we keep repeating over and over again?
Yeah, you got it. And so that's trance or everyday self, we'll call that. On the other side is for from meditation, for heart breath, and for soul. Okay. So can you understand that? Is that okay? Do you understand?
Yeah, so we're going to meditate about the subconscious and trances being more like everyday self. And then on the other side, the soul self.
Gotcha. Very good. And then see, go that see it. I keep saying is for, well, anyway, listen to Baba Siri Chand, okay? Now stay with that. We will do that for 3 minutes. Okay, begin. And continue. Okay, now there's just one thing I want to tell you. Now, if one person tells another person, but if they go negative, do not do that. Okay, that will be my problem. Okay, okay, so now, Sahej, do you have any? It's your time. Sahej?
Oh, okay, sorry, took me a minute to find the on button.
Sure.
It's interesting because this subject, because it's very germane to something that's been deeply upsetting me for the last couple of days. And the last thing you said really brought it together, which is if someone is going negative, don't go negative.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wisdom that we all have heard a million times, and we all know is probably true, and we all do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is often the engine, that we go negative not because it's any pleasure to us or we want to, or even that it's spiteful. It's that we fear that if we don't meet the force coming at us with the same force, that we'll be subsumed by it or overtaken by it, or that it's the same notion that peacefulness is weakness in some people's eyes. And what I was seeing before that is these trances are left over patterns from previous experiences, traumas, perhaps some kind of, I don't think they necessarily all trances are because of something negative, but those are the ones that are easiest to notice. And it's easier to notice them in other people than it is to notice them in ourselves. And what I'm
when, like in your children or in yourself, or maybe in past lifetimes?
You mean noticing the patterns?
Yeah, the trances. That was very good.
Yeah. And for myself, I was seeing this kind of as the situation that I've been dealing with. And I've been, my fear mechanism has been deeply, deeply triggered because someone came at me with a real aggressive energy. And then the person who was in the position to help, it had to do with the maintenance person in my building and the ever revolving management, whose response was bizarre at best and hostile. Um, but I realized it was based. I saw like this is based in everybody's trances. I knew the person who acted out against me was completely freaked out about something that had nothing to do with me, and it was so evident to me that I had a lot of compassion for him. At the same time, it's not behavior that I can countenance. It makes me feel unsafe, and that has to be communicated.
And so what do you do?
Well, what I had been doing is I would like go to sleep at night and say, okay, my soul, please go talk to that person's soul. And then the next night, all the people involved. And I think what I felt through this was, see, this is exactly it. And like right when you said, oh, and by the way, don't meet negative with negative, it's like, okay, something in my body just completely relaxed. It's like, right. Don't be in fear yourself, because that's the same as that emits the same way as consciously negative energy or behavior. So to be in a complete place of trust, and that's what happens. That's it. It's like falling into the trust place, asking to see, asking to be given the words, falling in, creating clear boundaries is also part of this. Create clear boundaries for yourself and proceed with trust. So I feel so much safer.
Isn't that amazing?
It truly is. It's the answer to many, many prayers this week. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, good, because that's from soul. Isn't that amazing?
Waheguru. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Once again, so simple, but
It's
that doesn't
simple.
mean it's easy to get to. So Thank you.
Okay, so have you heard about, what do we call that? The fear? What do we use that?
Oh, the fear eradication.
Yes, do you remember
Yes.
that?
Thank you for reminding me about that, because you know what? I have not remembered to do that. And I will today.
How can you, how can you put your note someplace where you could see it all the time?
Right next to on my front door, right next to the post-it note that says breath is the point of integration.
Okay, and then fear eradication, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
soul, soul says, that's it, soul says. How about
Soul
that?
says fear eradication. Okay.
Yeah, okay. And was there anything else about subconscious?
Just that uh, we can often be motivated out of subconscious, out of the subconscious, while we think we're thinking rationally, because we're
Oh, good.
talking to ourselves rationally. But what's really happening is it's just a cover for the subconscious motivation.
Hmm. I love that. So just say it again about
Oh, that
subconscious.
we're 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 often acting out of the subconscious when we think we're acting rationally, because we're talking to ourselves in our own minds quite rationally, or we're rationalizing the behavior,
Uh-huh.
and that and then thinking that we're acting rationally, as opposed to actually acting out of the subconscious and then rationalizing it so that we feel better about it.
Isn't that amazing? That's
Yeah,
extraordinary.
we're funny creatures.
Great. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Okay. Gyan das Prem.
Satnam. Hmm.
Yeah.
So for yeah, it was a split, like a circle with a line in the middle. I've been seeing similar things, but with the sort of the single seed. But Pavan Guru, Wahi Guru is just so loud. He was just so loud with that, and the reminder of coming back to the breath. And then with the energies of all of this, what we see and what we perceive with our eyes, with our body, with our feelings when we move, that we have this, this ability to come into this place where we have both halves there, and we have that middle, and the middle, it can be the point of that, where we need to come to, right, to have that center point of where we're seeing the light, or stepping into the light of being in the truth of that satnam, of where the breath is bringing us from, that, that discovery point. And just the shock of that, the shakti in that as well, being the pain, but also being the stillness, and that there was the mention of the softness and the strength in there too, and the resonance, and the way that we're moving there. But yeah, through the singing Pavan Guru, it's within me, it's in with you, and how we come together and we share in this truth is really where we're able to walk wherever we go, and try to just be that same vibration of ultimately learning to practice of what whether it's the other people showing us our pain in ourselves, or our inherent pain on our DNA and our memory that we see. My original trance um, not was waking up in the morning and noticing that the wall was coming back and forth, and then noticing that when I noticed that and tried to correlate that in some sort of a way outside of my mind, it seemed easier when I was younger, because I had a freedom of, the rules weren't really around me at that point, right? So it's big, and it's everything's big. But then back to that Pavan Guru, that Wahi Guru, of noticing the breath, of finding our still point of being able to be the same of that. If we have the yin and the yang, or the yolk and the, you know, how the egg is, and we can look at these different examples that we have, but when we come into our breath, we can sort of just notice that. And if it's truth is my identity, or Sat Nam, however we look at this when we're breathing, you know, I inhale creation, I exhale, you know, any wrongdoing or what have you, or any negative energy, to try to make this still. But the movement there of becoming still, of how we can notice that and becoming soft. Yeah. And back to that Wahigudu of noticing that our everyday self is our self, right? That, so I'm going to come back to that being the element, right, of what brought me here, to the cycle, that noticing that cycle, and having guru, why guru, yeah. And ultimately we could sit there and we can go back to our tantric, if we're able to notice our breathing is tantric, that it's continuous and that it's on continuously until when we leave our body and get to go back to that other realm, right, to that point. But we still have that creative point right there, at the disconnect point of our belly button. So yeah, and the simplicity of that, back to that, noticing the self sitting, just sitting still, and noticing that stillness, and feeling the vibration of all that there is here with us, that we came from, that we will return to, and that Pavan Guru, Waheguru. Yeah, because eventually the discomfort will become soft enough, just back to our reminder of how we can become comfortable when we sleep, and discomforting when we are confronted with something that will make our heart race. And yeah, and back to that Waheguru of being that still point of showing, yeah, that we're sharing this here within the sharing of that, that we're not, yes, there are things, that certain things that fall apart that will come together again, but that we don't need to go at it with an explanation so forthcoming that we're in the way of somebody else that may need our help at that time. So the reminder is to use the help that we have for the help that we want, to become that, you know, back into that full circle of being able to help, and that honesty of the full-time, yeah, the full-time honest, by Guru. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and noticing the similarities of people that are having trouble in our lives, that we may be able to notice the help for us from them, and then our ability to be able to help them if we can, and make softening within that too, so that we can stay in that Satnam while we're pumping our gas if it goes up to $6 or $10 a gallon, right? It's okay. Bye, Guru. Bye, Guru.
Thank you, dear. Now, it was good. I'm going to ask if to see my place with the video. Can you do that?
You have to turn your own video on.
Uh-oh.
If you touch your screen on, if it's in the customary place on the lower left portion of the screen, there's a microphone, and then there's a start video, and you want to do, there you go.
Okay. So now I have just been seeing about this book. Now, you know, with the Bible, have all kinds of translations, you know, and it's go kind of anyway. What this is look at that, it's gone backwards. Okay, it's called the Revelations of the Aramaic Jesus. Now, Aramaic was the time, the words for them, and that is a translation. But you know, it's very interesting, because with the Aramaic words are saying very similar to things for what we're talking about and what Guru Das Prem was talking about. And you know about the trances, that would say with Jesus says for tangled emotions, and so it talks about different kinds of with listening and so on. It was very interesting. Okay, if you want to, this is by Neil Douglas-Klotz, Koltz. Okay, so if you can,
Thank you.
please go there. Okay, thank you, folks. Oh, now I can go the other way. Wait a minute. Stop video. Okay. Now, great. Okay, Salt City, are you there? Oh, there she is. Hi, Salt City.
Can you unmute Sat City? It's in the lower left corner.
Yes, I'm on mute. Satnam.
Satnam.
You remember that? Did you get that?
Yes, remember
With the
the book?
subconscious.
Oh, yeah. So, yes. What I was, what came to me in our meditation was the deep connection between karma and trances. So we come in with that karma, and I know at least what I heard early in the days of becoming part of the Kundalini community was that we're here to conquer our karmas. I don't know if I got that right. We're here to heal, to complete. We're here to complete our karmas. So, what came to me, what I was hearing was trances. Think about the image I got of karma was this tangled web of different colored yarns, of different experiences that either for good or for tragic or for happy or for whatever they were, the things that happened to create that tangled web. The trances are the yarn.
What's what? I didn't get
the
that.
trances are like the different colored strands of yarn that would be in this tangled thing I experience as karma, my karma. So the trances, I've been learning I've been through some of them, pretty heavy duty ones recently, and I'm helping my sister who's dying from lung cancer. She's got about 2 more months maybe. Helping her. And I learned about this from just talking to her about things that she was very angry about or very sad about, or resentments and stuff that she couldn't let go of. So she thinks I'm helping her, but she's helping me just as much as we go through this process of getting ready to celebrate her life as her soul leaves her body. And she had a pretty hard life for very different reasons. Right. So what I'm trying to say is the trances, I'm trying to embrace them and get friendly with them and not overreact or react, just be meditatively, think of them as temporary companions that will be here for a part of the journey and hopefully can be resolved so they feel like, no, I found my home now, you keep going, I'm done.
Isn't that amazing?
I've had the experience, also trances can be communal. So we have some shared trances in our family, in my 11 brothers and sisters and I.
That's right.
So it's interesting that I'm hoping, and I have to write a eulogy or speak at my sister's funeral among other people. And I'm hoping there's some hard truths, actually, to traumatize and create a lot of trances for my younger brothers and sisters who, she had a brain injury in birth. It would have been treated totally differently now. She would go into flying rages and scare the hell out of younger siblings. So there's a lot of karmas that got created where they don't want to come to her funeral and all this. So, but what I'm trying to say is, I'm hoping this communal experience of our first sibling to die can be a healing occasion, that we could actually
Say it
step
again.
into this. I'm hoping, I'm praying, and I got the guidance to make this death of my sister help other siblings, or be one of the siblings that can make this that we can make this a communal healing of trances, because her death is an opportunity that she can come to peace. She's still chewing on the bone of some really old stuff, and she can't forgive the siblings. It doesn't really open a doorway for them forgiving her. So I just think what's great about the Dharma and our community, and any Kundalini class group, is that when we support each other in the practices that give us tools and the presence of mind and the prana to forgive unconditionally and move through the trances that comprise our karma, that's like the path. And it's one string at a time. Okay, I'm pulling on the orange yarn right now out of my tangled mess. I'm pulling on the blue yarn. So that's what I got. And
Wonderful.
thank you for your intro, because it's so comforting to know that you're going to handle the karma of this group. Whatever trances, I apologize. Really ask for forgiveness for any ways I've hurt anyone or caused disturbance. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Great. Now, I also want to tell you about the Aramaic Jesus, that he was for things like for sin or forgiveness for that, and so on. All of that is about tangled, and what you're talking about with trances. It's means tangled and untangled. That's what healing is about, being untangled. Isn't that amazing? And that's just what you were talking about. Okay.
It's my lived experience walking this path. That's what's so wonderful about this path that I got the gift of in this lifetime.
Good. Thank you. Okay. So next is Aagia Pal.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Siri. Well, I resonate with everyone. And I wanted to, if it was okay, every day I say the Aramaic Lord's Prayer. And if it's okay, may I recite it to everyone?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this is a translation. Obviously, I can't read the Aramaic. O birther, father, mother of the cosmos, focus your light within us. Make it useful. Create your reign of unity now. Your one desire then acts with ours, as in all light, so in all forms. Grant what we need each day in bread and insight. Loose the cords of mistakes binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' guilt. Don't let surface things delude us, but free us from what holds us back. From you is born all ruling will, the power and the life to do, the song that beautifies all, from age to age it renews. Truly, power to these statements. May they be the ground from which all my actions grow. It's hard to recite that without tears. And I think that speaks to everyone has been saying. Personally, my unconscious, subconscious patterns are to always go, I think they're driven by my self-critic. And I have a very strong self-critic that weaves its own story and whines and just spins its own story. And it's very difficult. It gives me a lot of, like Huddy Munder was saying, last few days, it gives me a lot of pain, but I'm doing the fear eradication. I find that I'm starting to talk to my self-critic, and I find that it is familial. It's it's a pattern of, oh, I really screwed up. I made a huge mistake. Okay, now what are you going to do? Boy, are you going to be in trouble. And these things come up sort of, I think it's from the self-critic, and it could be anything like that recently. And it's the more time I have now to myself, the more the self-critic likes to just, like, I'm going to say, snake its way through my subconscious. And so I do thank you what you say always, and that's stay with soul. Stay with soul. And the power of that statement sort of tranquilizes what's the word? It's an antidote for this everyday self-critic. So I go back and I say the Aramaic Our Father again, and I ask soul for guidance. And the song from, I used to love the Weston monks, all their songs, and we used to play them all the time. And one is Be Not Afraid. I go before you always. And so remember soul, and always stay with soul. And that's easier said than done. However, it is a practice, and I am finding that my life is really taking a different track. I mean, it's like as I stay with soul and listen to the guidance of soul, I think my self-critic is, let's say, lessening its grip on me. And the picture I have is standing at the edge of a rabbit hole and just kind of looking, just like the feeling like I might fall into this rabbit hole and hit the bottom anytime, but that soul and it has me, is holding me, and the connections that I have with other people are holding me from failing, from falling. And it's really yeah, so that's kind of, and I feel it parallels with what's happening, what's happened in my family, also what's happening in the world. And there's something in me that this unconscious, that I think is unconscious, that it's all up to me to fix it, and so I think I really don't want to go any more into it. And I think I've used up my time anyway. So thank you for listening.
That was good. Okay, so I just want to tell you, there's subconscious, and we all know about that, and it has to do with trance and so on. And then unconscious, from
Jung, like the
yes, Jung.
collective unconscious from Jung, Carl Jung.
That's more like on the right side of the brain, which is more like soul, right?
Yep.
You have conscious, and that's put all together, right?
Right.
Good. Okay. Thank you, dear. That was good.
Thank you.
Okay. So now it's Japa Saraswati.
So now I don't know where to begin.
Come on.
At first I was reminded about this time that I went to go. It was when I was a pilot and I had to take a flight exam, and the guy that I was a student with, you were buddied together, and he was incredibly nervous and he was more experienced than me. So I let his nervousness come on to me, and I could, like, almost like a social disease, I could feel his nervousness before this flight, coming to affect me. And the way that like unconscious, we're often afraid of it because it's in the dark, and I think that we can sometimes confuse it with the shadow self, which is like something different entirely. But what we have, so trances in Sanskrit are called samskara, and those are like impressions from a past lifetime, like strong impressions that we get magnetized toward over, not yeah, kind of over and over again. But then there are kleshas, which the second Yoga Sutra is all about the kleshas, and it well, I'll try to read it to you in Sanskrit, but it's avidya samrita.
Excuse me, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I don't have that name. Say it again.
Klesha?
Yeah, could you spell that?
Klesa.
Say it again.
Sometime Klesa or Sha, depending on where you're from. So
Okay.
klesha. And it's part of the second Yoga Sutra. And it's 2.3 Yoga Sutra, 2.3 of Patanjali. And it basically outlines the 5 kleshas or afflictions that are the cause of suffering. And it's just like you were saying, Siri Gian, about the words being the same. So the 5 kleshas are ignorance, egotism, attachment, aversion, and fear of death. And like ignorance can have 2 parts to it. So there's just plain like ignorance of a thing altogether, but then there's the kind of ignorance of like thinking a thing is something else. So like thinking that green light is red or something along those lines. That's like one of the there are 2 parts of ignorance. But so the everyday self is just kind of going along, but then we have under like the undercurrents of these strong impressions from our past lifetimes, samskara, and then we also have kleshas, which like for everybody there's differing amounts in different fields, like ignorance or ego, or like in a particular, say I'm a really strong runner, I might have a big ego about running and push myself too hard so I hurt myself, as opposed to somebody who has no ego attachment to running and they're just like, they're going to walk very, very slowly, they're not going to hurt themselves running. Which is a really wonderful way. I don't know how to say it, but so how do I come back? Um, um, I don't know exactly how to explain it, um, except to say that these things play a role in like our spiritual life that's under the cover, like under the surface. Um, and that what the message that I really got was about coming to neutrality. Oh, so it was also about vritti. So the first part of the second Yoga Sutra is Yoga Chitta Vritti Narodaha, which means yoga stills the undulations of the mind, but it's this practice of drawing ourselves back to neutrality that helps us to even out these kleshas, because these kleshas basically are vritti, like that guy who before the flight test with me, his vibration was really nervous. So that's a vibration, and I got on that vibration with him. That is a vritti. That vibration is a vritti. So I like picked up his vibration with him by hanging out around the wrong crowd, you might say. Um, but yoga chitta vritti narodaha, yoga stills the undulations of the mind. The yoga is about coming back to that place of neutrality and being in this place of our sadhana, or our regular practice and our devotional practice, to coming back to this place of neutrality that's going to give us the stillness to persevere, because these vritti, these wild undulations of ego and attachment and like aversion, all of these things, those things are those things naturally create vritti. Those things naturally create big undulations. If we have a big aversion to doing a thing, that creates a vritti, and it's through our practice and through neutrality that we create that strong center in order to I guess I want to say move forward without that attachment, without that with less uh ups and downs, I guess.
Mm. Okay.
I think that's it. I think I said it.
I'm just putting it down. Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. Now, remember frequency of forgiveness,
Yeah.
and what you were talking about is neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that
Mm-hmm.
a Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to say, I also, speaking of the frequency of forgiveness, I really resonated with what Sat City just shared, because there's this wonderful little prayer book that was Mary the Untier of Knots. And when I was tied up in a situation with a guy that like was really foul, the guy was really foul, and I had this message from the Mother Mary that like even me feeling badly for him was me giving more string to him and me making the karma bigger and more with him, and that like I went straight to Mary the Untier of Knots, and I had that moment of like right use of energy. I asked the Mother Mary to like help me to regulate my energy and take in my energy so that I didn't spend a lot of energy on that guy, and that I got to like untie the knots with by regaining my own energy.
Wonderful.
Hmm.
Okay. So now I want to ask you, Aagia Pal, can you write that about the Aramaic Lord's Prayer?
Oh, I have it. I found it online.
Oh, good. Okay. So maybe Japa Saraswati,
Yeah,
can
would you send me a link to that, and then I can include it in the description for this meditation today?
yes, that would be perfect. And
If
that
I can figure that how to do that, I would be happy to.
good. That
Okay,
would
I'm gonna do it right now and
but
I
don't
hope she's gonna
remember the
get it.
rest of this. Remember, we still have Hari Munder.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry. So
okay,
sorry.
okay.
Okay, I
And
just sent it.
also, would you put uh Japa Saraswati also write Aramaic Jesus um for Neil Douglas-Klotz, uh
Okay.
Cl dash Klotz. Okay.
Okay. Let me tell you how much I'm missing Rahmane with all of the Aramaic going around today.
Oh, yes.
Yes, she would be wonderful.
Mm.
Okay, Hadi Munder, it's your time.
Ah. What I had, what I got was when I first learned of Baha'ism and Baha'u'llah, my friend who was talking to me about Baha'i said that one may not talk, and certainly negative, but she was taking it literally, not talking about other people.
Mhm.
And whether it's negative or positive, really. But and I was very frustrated because that's all most conversations are about, other people. And I was, what do we talk about? I mean, I always talk about what my mom's doing or what's this. I mean, I'm often complaining, but this was 50 years ago almost. So I think it relates to all this as not getting entangled in other people's, in the vibrations and the frequencies of other people. I talked to a Baha'i friend just recently, a couple of days ago, and she said, "Oh, not talking about people at all. That's going way too far. It just should be not talking about them negatively." But in the middle, my friend who gave me the information at the beginning was a new Baha'i and was taking the teachings literally. So and it relates also to the Ho'oponopono, because back in the day when I was just learning Ho'oponopono a number of years ago, I was walking with a person I had just met, and he was saying, well, that puts all the behavior on us. I'm not going to accept that I am responsible for other people's junk and behavior. And at that time I was agreeing with him and saying I didn't cause it. He says he didn't cause it. But now, in the interim of learning more about neutrality and more about how we each give our own garbage to the one, and the original Ho'oponopono, who brought it into where we could actually use it. He was the head of a criminally insane institution. And it was just by his own healing of himself that everybody else got, almost everybody was healed. And there was only one or two people left, and they closed down the facility. Between, go ahead.
His name is Hugh Lim or something like that.
No, it's Dr. Lim, maybe. I can't bring it up right at the moment, but
yes, it's Hugh Lim.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it is.
Well, one of the one was writing about it, and one was he's Hawaiian.
Yep, that's him.
Okay.
Joe Dispenza or something like that, something Italian is the writer.
No, he's Hawaiian.
Yeah, Dr. Hugh Lim is, but the guy who's writing about him isn't.
Right, that's right.
It's Joe something Italian.
No, if you go for Ho'oponopono, if you can go to YouTube and you'll see several of those sessions. It's wonderful. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So that's learning neutrality, learning that takes time to learn and time to practice, and how we change over the years of how we approach the lessons within each of the spiritual practices.
Mhm.
So that's all I have to say.
Well, that was great. Thank you so much. Well, all of you are just in, how can I say, pure neutral. We're so glad. This is fabulous. Is that okay? Well, yes, it is. Okay. God bless you all. And everybody to let go of our tangles, right? Okay. Bless you all. Love you all. And Huddy Munder, will you be our person? Go ahead.
Okay. And I really like to do it with celestial communication. I like the movement of it. So feel free to move as you do it.
Mhm.
May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Inhale. Sa.
No.
Love you all. How wonderful. And we'll see you next week. Love you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Love
you.
you all.
Please.
Bye, everybody.
Satnam.